She focused on the map, go here, then turn into the alley on the left. ROI excitedly told Mark. This is the cafe my friend is running. It seems a bit far from the station, huh? He watched her chatting happily with the owner. Just looking at her social media photos is enough to make people interested in her. This must be a daily thing for her, right? Hi ROI, he joked. Is there any discount for friends? The owner will hook you up, don't worry. A customer whispered, hey, look over at the counter. She's insanely pretty, always like a little ray of sunshine. Honestly, if it weren't for the career change study group, for sure. I would never have the chance to sit at the same table with someone like her in a cafe. Under the lights with a delicious dinner spread out, Joe was typing away, so if we go by what Dong-gu said, then I should make the design file open source, right? But among the compiled requirements, wait a minute, Mark suddenly got curious. I wonder if she's planning on going on a blind date. I'm suddenly so curious he pressed send. All right, the items I just sent via message. It would be better if you break them down a bit more, he told himself purely. Asking about a colleague's love life is normal, right? I'm just a little curious. There's no other reason. Mark decided to just ask casually, as if it were nothing, just be natural. He spoke up, weren't Joy and Esther talking about a blind date earlier? Mark asked bluntly. That wasn't too sudden, was it? Joe burst out laughing. What's this? Why so sudden? Are you curious? He turned pale with embarrassment. She was a little surprised. Oh, so you heard that too, Dong-gu? I thought you were wearing headphones so you wouldn't hear anything. Joe nibbled on his cake. He asked, so what happened? Mark laughed awkwardly. So you decided to go on the blind date? ROI enthusiastically said his looks were better than I expected, so I'm considering it a bit. Before I reject him, that is. He gave a weak smile. Is that so? Mark picked up his hot tea, completely bummed out. I thought something interesting would happen, but it was so anticlimactic. She glued her eyes to the screen again. Romance can wait. Right now, self-development and my career change are more important. Besides, I'm a firm believer in letting relationships develop naturally. Suddenly, ROI's face darkened. Not that kind of physical thing, I mean a relationship that develops naturally. You get it? He choked on his water. Of course I get it. Mark quickly wiped his mouth. But you're busy preparing for a career change right after work. Is it even possible that way? She thought about it. That does sound difficult unless you date someone at the office. He shuddered. Office romance? That's. ROI's eyes lit up. What's wrong? Is Dong-gu against office romances? Mark was stunned. Why is she suddenly so interested? He fell silent and spoke in a low voice. Because I think it comes with a lot of serious risks, like how it's very difficult to keep it a secret. It can easily affect work performance, and then there's the aftermath of a breakup. Mark recalled an image of Esther. He lowered his gaze, so I think it's best not to do it. Mark sighed anyway, whether I fall in love or not. An office romance is the same. He was still worried if any girl would even like him in the first place. Then ROI asked casually, what if you happen to fall for someone? He suddenly got flustered, imagining having feelings for her. What if you meet someone at work who makes your heart flutter? Mark stared at her and ROI fell silent. He got nervous and looked away. I don't know because I've never experienced that. Mark stated his opinion more clearly than ever. To me, the company is a place for work. All relationships beyond being colleagues are unnecessary. She frowned. Oh, so that's what you think? He suddenly thought. Am I being too serious right now? Mark wanted to take it back. So Cherry, what do you think about office romances? Joy seemed very enthusiastic. It sounds pretty interesting and romantic too, you know. She suddenly whispered, don't you think it's thrilling? Mark was startled. His heart sank as he started guessing. There are only two possibilities. Either she's already in an office romance, or she's never been in a relationship before. Joy said with a little disappointment, but so far no one at the company has ever made my heart flutter. Are my standards too high? Come to think of it, I think I heard that she was hit on by a lot of guys at the company, right? Someone whispered, I heard she doesn't have a boyfriend. Why don't you go ask for her number, man? He wasn't interested, it'd just get rejected anyway, but to be honest, it would be weird if she had low standards. Mark imagined that Joy's boyfriend must be on a completely different level. He recalled what Joy said, but personally I prefer the opposite type, like Dong-gu, for example. Mark's mind went into turmoil. You're crazy, Kang Dong-gu. Why are you thinking about that now? It was just a compliment. Because she just enjoys working with me, that's all. He said hastily, we're almost done for today. We should get ready to leave, right? She was a little surprised, but there are still so many desserts, and Dong-gu, you haven't eaten anything yet. I'm fine, you can take it back. He's fed up, wondering what's been wrong with him lately. Joy asked Dong-gu with concern, are you cold? You look pale. Mark nodded and, it is a bit chilly at night. Aren't you cold? Nope, maybe the sweets got my blood flowing. He was confused. Is that even related? She pointed toward the stop. Dong-gu, you're taking the bus too, right? Mark dodged the question. I think I'll take the subway today. I definitely have to go home alone today. Mark said softly, for next week's study group, when are you free? ROI replied, any day except Wednesday. I took that day off. He asked a day off? She happily showed Mark I won tickets to a book signing for an author I absolutely love. Joy showed him a picture. I've been a fan of his since high school. I finally get to meet him in person, isn't it amazing? I've been a fan of his since high school. I finally get to meet him in person, isn't it amazing? Mark looked at it, so she likes to read, huh? Ah, that's a little surprising. A radiant smile appeared on her face. That author also just released a new book. It's amazing. He froze, feeling a strange emotion. Mark burned her smile into his memory. Even though I've seen her smile countless times before, his heart skipped a beat. This is the first time I've seen her look so passionate about something. Joy's voice suddenly became unusually gentle. This is my most treasured possession. Do you want to borrow it? Her words snapped Mark back to reality. He awkwardly turned away, avoiding her eyes. At that time, I was still completely clueless. Joy waved, "Goodbye, see you tomorrow." Mark just stood there stunned without a word. He watched her back as she walked away. Mark kept his eyes on Joy, thinking about what awaited him next week. Joy was all covered up. A colleague asked with concern, "Joy, are you sick? You don't normally wear a hat. And you're wearing a mask too." Joy explained, "I felt a bit under the weather when I woke up this morning." The colleague was surprised. "What? Why didn't you take a half day off to rest? You don't look well at all." Mark glanced over. Joy replied, "It's probably because I'm not wearing makeup. Anyway, I plan to see a doctor this afternoon to see how it goes." A worried look flashed across his face. As she opened a medicine packet, Joy asked in surprise, "You said some of the stalls can't apply the discount code?" The staff member asked, "That's right, can you please check this issue for me now?" She agreed, "Okay, let me take a look," he informed her. "Since the scheduled update is every Thursday, could you handle it by Wednesday evening at the latest?" "It seems Joy is really busy. I'm truly sorry." She smiled, "It's all right, I'm fine." "Don't worry." Mark remembered Joy enthusiastically saying any day except Wednesday. "I took that day off. I won tickets to a book signing for an author I absolutely love." He walked closer. "Tomorrow is Wednesday, right? Didn't you already request the day off, Joy?" She hesitated. "I'll try to finish it by the end of today and see. If I can't, I can just cancel my day off tomorrow." Mark tilted his head, thinking for a moment. Mark said in a low voice, "If you don't mind, let me handle that new issue that came up." Before Choi took over, Patrick and Mark were in charge of it together, right? The colleague said in surprise, "Oh, that's right." He said cheerfully, "Then there should be no problem." Jaden put a hand on Mark's shoulder. "Joy is sick right now, so don't overwork yourself. Building a new feature is one thing, but if it's just bug checking, those two will understand. The old source code is faster than Joy, right?" The doctor hesitated. "That's right. Mark's not happy about it." "You're right, but what's with this guy?" He winked. "Then you two will handle the incident today instead." "There you go," he glared. "It's easy for you to say since it's not your problem." Joe quickly refused. "I'm fine, really. I've taken medicine, so I'll get better soon." Jaden warned, "If you push yourself too hard, you could spread it to others, you know. This is no joke." He offered, "Just let us explain to the team leader for Joe." She got flustered. The doctor gave a thumbs up. "Exactly, don't worry too much. Just trust Mark and me today, and go home early to rest." Scene change. Outside the company. The doctor scratched his head. "Mark, I'm really sorry, but I have 2 wedding invitations to attend tonight. Can I count on you again today?" Mark was annoyed. This guy is crazy, as he listened to the explanation. "Anyway, the deadline is tomorrow night, so just work on it alone for now, Mark." The doctor asked for his opinion. "If you can't finish it today, then tomorrow the 3 of us can focus and get it done for good." "What do you think of this idea, Mark?" Mark was speechless. "It's about a wedding. So it's not like I can say anything, right?" He was tired. "Let's just go with that." He hugged Mark. "Thanks. You're truly our team's ace. Only Dong-gu makes people feel at ease." Mark was annoyed. "Get off me." Mark suddenly realized, wait, if I can't handle this today, Mark thought of Joy. Then she'll have to cancel her leave and come to work tomorrow. Later that evening, she texted him, "Dong-gu, don't overwork yourself and remember to leave on time. Let me rest well today. Then I'll come in early tomorrow and we can solve the problem together. You must leave on time." Mark looked at the message, troubled. Damn it, what's the right thing to do? Then Esther came closer. "Mark, you haven't left yet?" He turned around. "Oh no, I was planning to work a little overtime before going home." She encouraged Mark. "It was so loud I heard everything. Don't push yourself too hard alone. Wait for the other 2 to come tomorrow. It'll be better to work on it together, right? Besides, this isn't your task anyway, Mark." He looked down. "Honestly, I want that too." Mark started working. "I'll just work a little longer." It was late at night. He was tired. "Has it gotten this late already? I feel like I have a slight fever, and my eyes are a bit sore too." Mark panicked. "Am I getting sick too?" Mark looked at the empty seat next to him. "I must have really caught it from her. It's my fault for sitting right next to her." He hesitated. "I have a feeling I can definitely solve this problem this time, but what should I do? Go home and rest now?" Mark clenched his fist. "No way, I've already come this far. Just one more try." He squinted. "This is urgent. I guess I have to resort to that method." The barista was surprised. "Huh, really?" He confirmed, "Yes, give me 1 iced Americano. Please add an extra shot of espresso." Mark thought to himself, "I'll just have to borrow this forbidden power." It was late, but he was still focused on work. The coffee cup was empty. Mark kept working hard. He wiped his sweat. "Damn it, I'm really sick." Mark paused, but then he remembered Joy's bright smile. That author released a new book. It's really good. Mark was silent for a moment, then he kept trying. She seemed to really want to go to the author's meet and greet. The space became quiet. On the computer screen, a message from Mark's team appeared. Message: finished fixing the bug and pushed to dev. Server, please check it for me. He clicked to send the message. It's finally done. Mark collapsed. Lucky my fingers can still move. Calling a taxi now feels like too much effort. I'll just sleep at the office. He saw a piece of candy in a corner. Mark remembered, that's the chocolate candy I received last time. I took it and just left it on my desk, untouched. His heart wavered. Damn it, Mark lamented. Ever since that girl came here, my peaceful office life has been turned completely upside down. The thought flashed through his mind. It wasn't even my task, but I still willingly worked overtime late into the night just to finish it. He threw the candy wrapper into the same corner. I even caught this annoying sickness. I have a home but can't go back. I even started drinking coffee again, even though I quit a long time ago. Mark chewed the candy. What is it about sweets that people like so much? It clearly tastes terrible, but an image of joy flashed through his mind. He laid his head on the desk, flustered. Why do I feel so much better now? He whispered. This is bad. Then Mark's voice trembled. Snap out of it, Kang Dong-gu. He leaned back in his chair. You have to snap out of it. Her image appeared again. Mark pressed his hands to his face, his eyes trembling. Could it be? Mark asked himself. Have you really fallen for that girl? Sometimes there are people like that. Joy said softly. Patrick, the statistical data from the business development department. Hasn't the request come in yet? The doctor turned to him. I was planning to handle it this afternoon. Is something wrong? Always treating everyone with kindness and readily helping them, she smiled. My team also has documents for the business development department. If you'd like, I can take yours too, so they get everything at once. To send to the business development department, if it's okay, let me handle it for you, so they can receive everything at once. He was grateful. Thank you so much. As expected of our team's ace, someone who loves people for who they are. Joy reminded her colleague that a coupon is a discount voucher, or a discount code provided by the manufacturer. No matter where she goes, she always shines brightly. Another employee asked, Joy, have you gotten coffee yet? Let's go together. Joy smiled. Let's go now. Another colleague chimed in. Let me come too. Positive energy always brings people together. A colleague wondered. Joy, did you change your perfume? Esther got really close to her. Joy joked. That tickles. Everyone who passed by waved at her. She was always surrounded by people. Joy joked. That tickles. Everyone who passed by waved at her. She was always surrounded by people. Where she is, there's no such thing as loneliness. He glanced over. But sometimes there are side effects. Jaden was curious. What's Joy holding? Mark looked at him with annoyance. He thought to himself, an unfortunate accident has occurred, through no one's fault. Then Joy called for Mark. Mark, I bought dessert. Let's eat together. He looked at her. We willingly became fish. Mark refused. No thanks. I'm fine. He avoided her and fell into the pond she never intended to create. Mark sat alone at his desk. The fate of those fish was usually predetermined, to struggle in pain, alone, and then disappear. He coughed lightly. I was always on high alert and told myself over and over again. Mark's gaze darkened. He looked at Joy, but in the end, he still couldn't avoid it. Falling into that girl's net of love, she spoke. Mark, thanks for the prompts you shared this morning. He thought, being recognized for my work is a good thing. Mark replied, let me also share the blog I use for reference. Joy gave a thumbs up. Then I'd be really grateful, he thought, being recognized for work. And being seen as a potential dating partner are two completely different things. He stole a glance at her, he assessed. She seems to be in a really good mood today. It's no exaggeration to say, how could someone like me ever be with someone like her? Mark turned back to focus on his work. False hope only leads to ruin. Joy pulled her chair closer to him and whispered, Hey, Dong-gu, when is good for our next study session? Mark quickly dodged. This week doesn't look good. How about next week? Joy didn't notice. Then when next week? He stammered. Tuesday or Wednesday maybe? She beamed. Okay, let me check my schedule and message you. Mark hesitated, falling for someone. But the chances of getting together with them are almost zero. He went to the restroom. It's not an event, it's an accident. Mark sighed in frustration. Snap out of it. He dried his hands. Once an accident has happened, you just have to deal with it. The most important thing now is to handle the aftermath. I can't let myself suffer over these illusory emotions. Mark threw the crumpled paper towel into the trash, determined to get rid of these meaningless feelings. I have to find a way to erase them completely. Mark returned to his seat, and to do that, the first step is to change the situation. Mark looked at a focused Joy. Between her and me, we're bound by too many things. The team, our seats, our work, and that study session. He gently sat down. I have to gradually keep my distance and move away from her. A vague boundary exists between them. Only when our bodies are apart can our hearts truly leave. As evening fell, Mark entered the elevator and pressed the button for ROI. He looked up as she waved. Oh, Dong-gu, are you off work? Mark stammered as he watched the elevator doors close. It was just the two of them inside. He coughed lightly, seeming to still have a slight fever. She asked how he was doing. Are you quieter than usual today, or am I just imagining things? Mark smiled faintly. Is that so? Well, let me treat you to a meal, he asked. A meal? Why? She said cheerfully. You worked overtime until 4 a.m. for me, remember? At least let me treat you to a meal as a thank you. Because of you, I was able to go to the signing event. It went so smoothly, haha, it's all thanks to you, Dong-gu. Mark realized that. That's why she's been in such a good mood all day, he thought to himself. If she knew I took yesterday off because of a cold, she would definitely be sad. It's better not to tell her. Joy suddenly moved closer. By the way, how about tomorrow night? Mark shyly moved away from her. I have plans with my family tomorrow night. Joy tried to find another day. Then Mark remembered what she had said. It seems we won't cross the line. Mark gripped his bag strap tightly. Does she even know? Does she know I'm trying this hard just not to cross that line she talked about? Joy asked softly. Then how about the day after tomorrow? He thought no, she wouldn't know. Mark refused. The day after tomorrow is Saturday. He felt a bit regretful. If she knew she shouldn't be treating me like this. Why is she getting my hopes up for no reason? Joy suddenly hesitated and said softly, I don't have any problem with it. Joy asked Mark, what about you, Dong-gu? Her eyes fell on him, and Mark slowly looked up at Joy. He told himself even so I thought just once would probably be okay. Mark became evasive. He pressed his lips together. Mark refused. The weekend doesn't seem possible. A hint of determination flashed in Mark's eyes. Joy froze, not knowing what to say. She slowly said, is that so? Morning sunlight streamed into the room. The alarm clock rang non-stop. A heavy hand slammed down to turn it off. Mark complained from his bed. I really don't want to go to work at all. Suwon stood at his door and said, still sleeping? Then just quit your job. He replied dejectedly, who asked you to care? Joy's face appeared in Mark's mind as he secretly schemed. If I go to work at 8, it will definitely just be the two of us alone, right? His sister's voice echoed into the room. It's cold today, remember to wear that sweater I bought you. Stop wearing the same shirt every single day. Mark started planning. First thing was to change his work hours. Baekchik found it hard to believe looking at Mark's clock. Don't you come in at 8 every day? Did something happen today? Oversleep? He explained shyly. I've been drowsy in the mornings lately, so I plan to come in at 10 for a while to adjust. His boss nodded in agreement. Right? Mark has really been an overtime machine lately. Mark lamented resentfully. And whose fault is that? Seeing Joy, Baekchik greeted her. Hey Joy, you're probably going to feel very lonely on early mornings from now on. She didn't understand what he meant. Pardon? Baekchik added, Mark just announced Hayes changing his work hours to 10 a.m. He helplessly tried to stop him. No, don't. Mark awkwardly made an excuse. It's because I can barely sleep these days, so. Baekchik enthusiastically suggested, why don't you change your hours too, Joy? It must be lonely in the office all by yourself. He started getting angry. Shut up, you idiot. Mark complained listlessly. It's still morning and my head is about to explode. A gentle voice called out to Mark, but Donald's voice cut in. Excuse me, everyone. May I have your attention for a moment? He asked everyone in the room. Today, the business development team has a meeting with a partner at CEO Sue. Can any devs or designers go with them? Batman avoided eye contact, but Donald noticed sharply. If no one volunteers, then from the dev side, we will have to ask our reliable Batman. Then suddenly he raised his hand and volunteered, I will go. Mark thought to himself, this is my chance to escape. He looked at him touched. As expected of our team's ace. I love you, Dong-gu. Mark uncomfortably dodged him. Stay away. The boss also praised him with satisfaction. Truly the present and future of our team. So reliable. Joy was pensively silent. A morning at Texas Square. Helping another department and working outside the office, too. The sounds of constant discussion filled the air. So we need to update the API space, right? Yes, I will compile it separately and send it for easier sharing. He sat listlessly in the meeting room. The usual me would have definitely tried to avoid this kind of thing. Mark wearily thought about the journey, not to mention it would take a whole hour by train to get home. I really don't like this one bit. He carefully considered today's situation. I managed to escape a lot of things with this business trip, but the study group still remains, and the real problem starts next Monday. Mark sadly realized the weekend probably wouldn't work. He started to regret it. Damn it, why did I say that? Then Mark accidentally said out loud, shit! His colleagues around him asked worriedly, were our requests too unreasonable? He shyly denied it. Not at all, I can definitely do this. On the way back, a colleague encouraged them. You two worked hard. No need to go back to the company, just head straight home. I already told Donald. Okay, Jun replied cheerfully. Thank you so much. She then turned to talk to Mark. Mark, are you taking the subway home? He replied. Yes, I plan to transfer at Gangnam, Jun said excitedly. I'm going the same way. Let's go together. The evening sun shone through the subway window as they sat in silence. Mark closed his eyes, pretending to sleep. This is so awkward. Even though we went through so much with Esther, we have hardly ever spoken to each other. After work, there is never anything special to talk about. Listening to music on the way home should be okay, right? Mark got annoyed when he couldn't find his earphones. I can't find them. Did I leave them at home? What's with today? She broke the awkward silence. Hey, Mark, I've made a decision. June began to confide, I'm not going to quit anymore. He thought right running away just because of someone like that. She was on her phone as she spoke. It only ends up hurting me. He didn't reply, just sighed quietly. Then Mark remembered what June had declared before. If I still haven't changed my mind in 2 weeks, then I will submit my resignation. Right, that's what she said back then. How long has it been since then? She expressed her thanks to him. For now, I will focus on my work and think more deeply about my career. It's all thanks to you, Mark. Mark was surprised by this sudden statement. June smiled warmly. I felt like I had to tell Mark this. He replied politely, thanks. She continued to praise Mark. I still haven't forgotten what you said. A UX or UI designer who understands dev terminology is really rare. This Esther here votes that as the #1 most impressive compliment of the year. He was confused. If you say of the year, it's only May. June raised her hand and pointed at Mark. Then we will have to see if Mark can keep this #1 spot for the remaining 7 months. Then he smirked. What the hell was that? She burst out laughing teasingly. Look, Mark's really smiling again. Mark retorted, flustered. I am not smiling. Then the atmosphere between them became quiet again. He remembered June had said before, if you run into any trouble later, just come find me. This time Mark spoke up, Esther. But he fell silent and didn't continue. Then Mark dodged the topic. Never mind, it's nothing. She asked insistently, what is it? I hate it when people stop halfway through a sentence. He suddenly said, I'm sorry. June gave a gentle smile, encouraging Mark. How can I know if you don't tell me? He was silent for a moment, then Mark began to tell Esther what was on his mind. That person, I mean your ex-boyfriend. Ed has the one Esther should be keeping her distance from and moving on from, right? Isn't that it? You broke up and he's dating someone else now. He was very curious. You see each other at work every day. Having to pretend like nothing happened and keeping your distance like that, isn't it tiring? Jun answered frankly. It's nauseatingly so. Mark was a bit surprised. It's that bad? He blamed himself. I really shouldn't have asked that. Her lips trembled like she wanted to say something. Finally, Jun confessed as the afternoon sun mixed with the sounds of the train. She said softly, I'm gradually feeling better now. Then Jun looked straight at Mark. He could also feel her gaze on him. Mark felt a bit more relieved. What a relief, he told himself. Yeah, I'll just treat it as a fleeting feeling. It'll hurt for a bit and then go away. Mark clutched his backpack tightly. Everything will get better soon. Jian glanced at him, seemingly lost in thought. Jian's question caught Mark by surprise. What was Joy's real name again? Then she answered it herself. Oh, I remember now. Jang Charon. Then John turned to him to confirm. It's Jang Charon, right? He froze instantly, unable to help but wonder. Why is she suddenly bringing up Jang Charon? What is she getting at? Mark's whole body was trembling, but he tried to stay calm. Crap, I'm completely. I don't know how to react. My mind is completely blank. Stay calm. Keep your expression as natural as possible. Suddenly, Esther sighed. Oh dear. She saw right through him and called him out. Mark, you couldn't even fool a child with that act. It's written all over your face. Your reaction is making me flustered now too. I was just testing the waters. Her calling him out made Mark blush. What's wrong with my face? Esther continued to tease him with amusement. Your face is totally giving you away, you know? You've been caught. She stretched her legs, complaining that she was starving. Then she called out, Hey Mark! Resting her chin on her hand, Esther started to suggest, Want to go grab a bite together? At the restaurant, while waiting for Mark's reply, Esther excitedly raised her hand to order. Owner, 2 bowls of blood, sausage soup, please. Make it with extra sausage, and a bottle of soju, too. But Mark quietly ordered, I'll just have a Coke Zero. But she cut him off. 1 bottle of soju, the fresh kind. What about what I wanted? She put down a spoon and said, I used to come here all the time in college. It's a local gem. But Mark had a question. Didn't you say we were just getting food? Why order soju? Hearing that, Esther rationalized. We are eating. We're just having a little soju with it. Mark felt helpless. She was so impulsive. Then, while pouring water, Mark asked, Anyway, how did you know? Esther knew what he was asking, but gave an unrelated answer. If you wanted to deny it to the end, I was just going to pretend I didn't know. He was speechless. Just answer the question first. Then, she explained seriously, human emotions aren't something you can hide just by wanting to. Ever since Joy started sitting next to you, your expressions have gotten a lot more diverse. But Mark replied, That's impossible. She snapped her fingers and continued. At first, I just thought you two were a bit closer than everyone else. But by Wednesday, I was certain. Her words made him fall into thought. Wednesday was 2 days ago, the day Joy took the day off for a fan signing event. But wasn't that the day I took off after pulling an all-nighter and just slept at home all day? Suddenly, Esther pointed at him. I saw the takeout coffee cup on your desk. She questioned him sharply. For someone who hasn't touched coffee in the entire year, he's worked here, to suddenly pull an all-nighter for a task that wasn't his and break his own rule. Who hasn't touched coffee for a task that wasn't his, pulling an all-nighter and breaking his own rule? Then Esther couldn't hold back and raised her voice. Isn't that true love? Gosh, are you going to admit it or not? Couldn't it be because that was the only kind the cafe had left? He didn't answer, just thinking, I should have denied it to the end. It's better if she just pretends not to know. Who pulls an all-nighter and drinks decaf? You'd have to be crazy to do that. Couldn't it be that the shop only had that type left? He didn't reply, thinking he should have just denied it and let her pretend. It's better this way. At least she won't ask me for hush money. Then, while tying her hair, Esther asked, Mark, do you really want that Coke Zero? It's not too late to order. Knowing she was changing the subject, he thought, I'll just play along for now. Soju is fine. Hearing this, she was pleased. Remember, I did give you an out, so don't go complaining later. A while later, Esther seemed drunk. Wow, I didn't realize Mark could hold his liquor so well. Mark was still completely sober, thinking, I can't believe she drinks this terrible stuff. Okay, that's enough, she said, putting her glass down. Actually, Joy is partly to blame too. Can't argue with that. He was more worried about the glass. It looked like it was about to shatter. Then Esther started rambling. The prettier and more charming someone is, the clearer they need to be about their boundaries. You can't let people misunderstand your kindness, but our Joy has no idea how her every word and action can have such a powerful effect on the opposite sex. Suddenly, she asked, By the way, why are you running away? Seeing that Mark didn't respond, she continued, You've been avoiding Joy since yesterday. I'm positive. And this whole business trip thing today. Besides, it's not like Joy knows how you feel. His gaze shifted elsewhere. Not brave enough to fight for her, but you've got plenty of energy to run away. He finally spoke up. It's obvious we're not a good match. But Esther pressed on. Why would it be a problem if it's you? Resting her chin on her hand, she said, Personally, I don't think you're less than anyone. In fact, you're a real catch, Mark. Her words made Mark flustered, and his voice trembled a little when he spoke. What do you even know about me to say that? Esther shot back. Then what do you know about Joy? She rattled off a list. You only just learned her real name, didn't you? Her age, relationship history, hobbies, favorite food, hometown, or even her MBTI. Her words struck him dumb. You know nothing about her, yet you've already decided you're unworthy, that you're not compatible, all based on your own assumptions. Esther looked down and concluded, that's just really foolish. Mark was silent. A moment later, he spoke up. You're drunk. Should we get going now? As night fell over the city, Mark finally spoke his mind. He said, I'm not the type to cross lines. I'm a perfect fit for her good colleague standard, she said so herself. So naturally, I have to back off and stay as far away from that line as I can, he continued. Besides, I never had the courage to cross it anyway. Esther listened silently to his confession. The light turned red. Crossing that line or staying away from it is a decision you have to make now. Then she began to share her own story. I used to agonize over this a lot too. I couldn't tell if I wanted to quit my job or get back together with that man. She continued. But in the end, it turned out to be neither. I just wanted to keep working at this company, doing my job. Her legs suddenly retracted. What I'm saying is, try to think about it simply, Mark. Then Esther asked if he wanted to distance himself from Joy or move forward. No one is chasing you down and forcing you to make a decision, not even here at Gangnam Station. Suddenly, she asked Mark if he knew about mutual deterrence. Seeing his confusion, she used her hands to explain. See, Mark knows my secret, Esther pointed to herself, and I know Mark's secret. Then she crossed her hands, so neither of us will dare to betray the other. Don't worry, I won't tell a soul. Hearing that, he casually accepted. Then Mark said, Hey, can I get your number? She seemed surprised for a moment, but then he explained, You paid for dinner earlier. I'll send you my half. Hearing that, Esther understood. Oh, for my account number. Hand me your phone. He stared at his phone, stopping at the contact name Lovely Owen. It's a phone number, but what's with Lovely Owen? She replied, You can transfer money through the messaging app. If you don't like the name, just change it. Esther started to get cocky. My number is very valuable, you know. But I only gave it because it's you, Mark. His flat response annoyed her. Geez, what kind of reaction is that? Not even an ounce of excitement. The announcement came on. The train is now arriving. Hearing that, Mark spoke up. I have to catch this train, so I'll get going. Esther said resentfully, You annoying jerk. I'm really drunk now. As he boarded the train, she suddenly called out, Mark. Esther smiled and made a fist as the train doors began to close. Buzz, 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 buzz. Before he could answer, the other side hung up. They hung up. He stared at his phone, wondering, is it too late to call back? Suddenly, a message from Joy came through about the source code Mark had committed. I had a few questions, but Patch answered them for me, so it's all sorted out now. Another message from her came in. Have a good weekend. Mark held his phone, his body trembling in shock. It was just normal work calls and texts, nothing serious. But you're so tense about it, why so uptight, Dong-gu? This past week has really been a whirlwind, even though it's not even the weekend yet. But I'm already dreading this coming Monday morning. A few days later, decisions made when emotions overrule logic usually lead to mistakes. He remembered his attitude from the other day that weekends were a no-go. Don't bother me anymore, it's getting annoying. Esther's voice gently rang out. I mean, Mark should try to relax and think about it for once. Do you want to distance yourself from Joy or get closer? Mark walked on, lost in thought. I'll calmly accept my current feelings, but I'll take my time thinking about what Esther said to do next. The priority now is to get back to my daily routine. Stability in my daily life is the most important thing. Only when I've calmed down can I make the clearest decision. As if on cue, he had just been thinking about Joy when he bumped into her early in the morning. He walked in awkwardly, realizing he was indeed early, so he tried to act as natural as possible. As soon as he arrived, she cheerfully struck up a conversation. Didn't you say you weren't coming in until 10? Mark replied awkwardly. I slept in a lot this weekend, so I came in early today. He thought to himself proudly, not bad, that was a good answer. Now it's my turn to say something casually. Hey, was everything okay with our team last Friday? Joy replied cheerfully. There were no particular issues, the doctor handled all the questions just fine. He suddenly thought, it's just me overthinking things, it doesn't feel that awkward after all. Just then, Joy held out a piece of candy to him. Want some chocolate? Mark hesitated looking at the candy she offered. See, it's just like any other day. He hesitantly took the candy thanks. He thought to himself, I'll just act like nothing happened. She probably didn't even notice. She must have forgotten what I said. He suddenly remembered what Esther had said. You know nothing about her yet. You've already decided you're not good enough for her making assumptions and deciding everything on your own. That's so foolish. Mark froze, remembering the last line, how will you know if you don't say anything? He wanted to speak but didn't know what to say. His throat felt tight. At the last second, he finally managed to whisper, I'm sorry. He was referring to what he'd said in the elevator last time, that it was annoying to be bothered on the weekend. I didn't really mean it. Joy looked at him stunned, not knowing what to say. He just then realized his hand was still in Joy's palm. He immediately pulled it away. Back at their desks, Mark continued. That day I wasn't feeling well. He thought to himself he needed an excuse, no matter how lame. The reason he was trying to keep his distance was because he liked her. He couldn't tell her that. I had a bit of a fever and was out of it, so I was a bit blunt. Joy cut in worriedly. You have a cold? Was it because of me? Mark stammered. No, it's just the flu going around the office. He avoided her eyes and continued falteringly. I've been thinking about it a lot. I was worried you'd think I actually meant it. She awkwardly tucked her hair behind her ear while muttering something. Joy took out a large gift bag and handed it to him. Here, this is the promotional gift and book from the signing event. Consider it a thank you for pulling an all-nighter for me last week. I was going to give this to you on Friday, but then I thought maybe. All this time I've only been thinking about my own boundaries while Dong-gu was always trying not to cross that line while I was completely thoughtless about it. She gave a small, gentle smile. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I guess I was being inconsiderate. Mark stared blankly at his coworker. Finally, he could let out a sigh of relief. It felt as if a weight had been lifted from his chest, and their conversation went back to normal. Dong-gu, do you want coffee? Let me go buy it. Deep down, he secretly wished. And I just hope my feelings don't show on my face. Today, a steaming cup of coffee was placed on his desk again. As evening fell and the sun began to set, he sat exhausted at his desk, his mind feeling much lighter. But a new problem appeared. With all the late nights and time off for business trips, his work had piled up. With the study group scheduled for this week, it looks like I'll have to work overtime again. I might even have to pull an all-nighter, damn it. As he was cursing to himself, Joy walked over and offered to help. Let me give you a hand. Seeing the confusion in his eyes, she explained. You had a lot going on last week. Your work must have really piled up, right? In his eyes, Joy suddenly looked like an angel. An angel. She's definitely an angel, but I can't let her work overtime because of me. As much as I want the help, I should just send her home. He struggled to say no, I can't. Then he suddenly realized, wait, if I turn her down now, she might think I find her annoying again. It would be weird to push her away now after we just cleared the air this morning. For today at least, I should just accept her help. He replied hesitantly, then I guess I'll take you up on your offer today. Joy grinned and said okay. It was nearly 9:30 at night. Mark checked the time and told her at this pace we can be out of here in 40 minutes. I'll just finish the rest of this quickly by myself and then wake her up so we can go home together. As he worked in silence, she stirred slightly, making him jump. The only sound in the office was Mark's beating heart. While he was working quietly, she stirred a bit, startling him. The only sound echoing in the office now was Mark's heartbeat. He carefully draped a thin blanket over Joy. Get a grip, Dong-gu. She slowly opened her sleepy eyes. Joy rubbed her nose and spoke sheepishly. Sorry, I must have dozed off. But why were you standing there? Her question caught him off guard. He wondered to himself, yeah, why was I staring at her? He scratched his head and stammered out a reply. I finished my work, so I was just about to wake you. He felt nervous, thinking to himself. I finished my work, so I was just about to wake you. He felt nervous, thinking to himself. I must look so suspicious, I can't let her get the wrong idea right now. He answered a bit bluntly. It's still a little chilly out and you just got over your cold. Mark replied dryly. It's still a bit chilly, and besides, you just got over the flu. Seeing Joy's expression, Mark sighed in relief. It seems she isn't suspicious, she asked as she stretched. So should we head home now? He immediately agreed, yep, let's call it a day. Mark looked down packing his things and thought I'll just finish the rest at home. A yellow notice was taped to the door. Elevator inspection in progress. For your safety, do not enter. Inspection underway. We apologize for the inconvenience. In accordance with the Elevator Safety Management Act, the two of them stood silently before the elevator looking at the blue sign for the stairwell. They started talking. I guess we'll have to take the stairs. Let's go then, shall we? Mark found it strange. The same thing happened with Esther last time. Why is it being inspected again? White sneakers stepped onto the stairs. You haven't eaten because of me, have you? What now? Joy replied with an easy laugh. It's okay, my freezer at home is stocked with takeout. They walked down the stairwell one after the other. I still have that fried chicken you gave me too. Hearing this, Mark wondered to himself. Does she mean when I gave her that coupon? Joy continued, you live with your family, don't you? He answered casually, yes, with my parents and older sister, so there are 4 of us. She sounded envious when she heard that. So you get home-cooked meals every day? I'm so jealous. Mark glanced back at her as he thought. She asked me so I can ask her back, right? He asked quietly, what about you, Joy? What's your living situation? Joy tilted her head at his question and answered, I've been living by myself since I graduated high school. Under the flickering lights, she continued, I'm from Gangwon, but I moved to Seoul for university and then work. It was really hard since I didn't know anyone or have any family here. Mark kept walking calmly as he asked, but there must be some upsides too, right? Like having the freedom to enjoy your own time after work. Joy's voice answered, mingling with her footsteps, because no one's waiting at home. So I usually stay at work longer. Rather than going home early to eat by myself, I'd rather work and have dinner with my close colleagues. Suddenly, her eyes lit up as she thought of something. I don't know if you get that feeling. Mark rolled his eyes and replied, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. The apartment is a 1-bedroom plus a den, which isn't usually considered a full bedroom. Hearing that, Joy sighed softly and continued, my apartment is really small, it's just a studio. And living alone is so lonely and boring, it feels like I'm being consumed by negativity. If I had known, I would have tried to get home earlier. Having a boyfriend would have been nice. After rambling on, she suddenly realized, I think I overshared a bit, didn't I? Mark, with a straight face, said, not at all, I find it interesting. Joy was surprised. Interesting? Why? With her hand on the railing, he continued, because I never thought that. Cheryl also has a story behind her, so they walked down the company stairs side by side. Cheryl always seems so bright and strong. Joy was surprised he thought of her that way. Not at all. I'm actually very weak, and I care too much about what other people think. She looked over at me. I really had to think long and hard before giving you that book, because I was afraid you'd find it a bother. Her eyes looked a bit tense. About last week, please allow me to apologize again. Seeing his expression, she laughed. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Joy continued, leaving Mark a little confused. You're the only one who knows, Dong-gu. She avoided his gaze. Actually, I'm the type who worries a lot. And I'm very hesitant too. He glanced over at Joy. I get it. Suddenly, the ceiling light went out. Mark looked up. The motion sensor light here isn't coming on. Joy also looked around as she replied to him. I think the motion sensor is broken. Be careful on the stairs, he agreed, adding on. Let me turn on my phone's flashlight to be safe. Before he finished speaking, Joy missed a step, screamed, and slammed into his back. The sound of a heavy thud down the stairs. Joy landed on top of Mark on the stair landing, worriedly asking Dong-gu. Hey, are you okay? Mark replied to her. I'm fine, but are you? But before he could finish, Joy covered his mouth with her hand. Two female colleagues walked into the stairwell, chatting. This is so annoying. Is the elevator out of order again? But we're only on the 4th floor. If the main elevator isn't working, they should let us use the service elevator. The two of them were tense, not daring to move a muscle. Listening to them talk, I think only companies from the 11th floor up are allowed to use that one. His heart pounded as his ears and face grew hot. He closed his eyes, trying to suppress it. My heart is going to burst. The voices grew distant. Then she got up from his back, her eyes smiling shyly. If I'd known, I would have just endured walking the stairs a bit, and then used the service elevator to go down. As he replied, Mark was actually thinking to himself, I really thought I was a goner. At the lit-up bus stop, the two stood side by side under the awning. He spoke up to thank her. Thanks for staying late to help me with overtime today, and for this gift, too. Joy smiled brightly and replied, that's my favorite book of poems. Mark couldn't help but ask, your all-time favorite? She glanced at him and said, be sure to give it a read, and then let me know which poem made the biggest impression on you. Joy stressed, remember to tell me after you've read it. Mark looked at her hesitantly. I'll be sure to read it carefully. Light shone through the apartment window. Lying in bed, Mark opened the book and mused to himself. What a surprise. I never would have guessed she likes poetry so much. Suwon burst in, yelling, you have to listen to me, little brother. My ex just made his new relationship Instagram official. Mark, annoyed, yelled back. Geez, get out now. His sister ignored him, flopped onto his bed, and whined. Why could he be with Nan but not with me? Listening to his sister whine, Mark couldn't understand why she was even involved with a guy like that. She was the one who said she hated office romances. Suwon yelled through her tears. So what if I hate it? Should I just let him go and regret it later? He was speechless, wondering to himself. So what on earth does she want? His sister continued, making Mark pale. Are you avoiding your big sister? Come on, have a drink with me. I won't be able to sleep tonight if I don't drink. He pushed Suwon's hand away. Get out. Get out. I'm reading. His sister persisted. You're a good drinker. Why do you keep dodging me? Mark lost his patience, his face turning pale. What's that smell on your breath? Just then, a slip of paper fell out from the book of poems. Suwon was still rambling. My breath doesn't smell. Are you asking for a beating? The small note fell onto the bed. Mark was still groaning. Seriously. He glanced aside and saw the note. He picked it up and wondered, what's this? Did it fall out of the book? Mark unfolded the note. His sister, peeking over his shoulder, read the neat handwriting on the paper. By the way, this page has my favorite poem. What about you, Dong-gu? His face fell as he read the note. Mark's hands trembled as he flipped through the book. No way. Which page did this fall out of? Suwon sat beside him, scratching her head, completely confused. She put it out of her mind and suggested, I'm not sure what's up with you, but it's such a nice night. Let's just go out for a drink. A pillow flew right at Suwon's face as Mark yelled, please, just get out. In front of Breezy Cafe. Today was their study group day. Mark and Joy sat across from each other, working inside the cafe. Promptly at 5 p.m., the two of them were at a cafe. He silently stared at his laptop screen, thinking about that note. I can't stop wondering. It's driving me crazy. By the way, this page has my favorite poem. What about you, Dong-gu? I wonder which poem she was talking about in that note. He thought to himself, I really want to ask her, but it would be awkward to bring it up when we're supposed to be concentrating. Joy, sitting across from him, suddenly touched his laptop. Dong-gu, is it that? Startled, he looked up. Yeah? She continued. When we decided on this side project, we agreed to use open source resources for the design, right? Mark replied, confused. Yes, that's right, because our study group doesn't have a designer. Joy's hand clicked on the computer mouse. But no matter how well we use them, it still feels like it can't compare to something made by a real designer. Mark, also clicking his mouse, replied, that's true. A product made by two developers will probably look a bit unpolished. But are there any other options? Hearing him ask, Joy immediately answered, I have a friend who works at Usui. She's a designer in Busan. She's looking to switch jobs soon. If you're okay with it, I was thinking of asking her to be in charge of the design. The laptop screen displayed a woman's profile. The two of them continued their conversation. Anyway, because of the nature of the work, we won't need to meet face to face. We can just communicate the main details. We can just do it over messages. What do you think, right? Mark put a hand to his chin and thought. Honestly, I don't have a better solution. Her eyes brightened. Holding her phone, she said, then I'll call and ask her right now. Mark was a little stunned. Right now? He heard Joy's voice on the phone. About that project I told you about. Mark silently drank his water, thinking to himself. When I first joined the company, I only thought about doing my assigned tasks well. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, Joy was still talking business with her friend. Yeah, the development team. It's just me and one other person right now. I'll send you the project plan and references over Kakao Talk. He thought to himself, her proactivity and good communication skills are a huge advantage. Joy got off the phone, her tone cheerful. All done. She excitedly told Mark, my friend said she'll think about it positively. She'll probably make a group chat tomorrow. He held his cup and remarked, Cheryl, you're amazing. Joy was surprised. What? Me? Mark looked down slightly and said calmly, if it were me, even if I saw the design wasn't working, I wouldn't have been able to solve the problem so quickly. I probably would have just been stuck trying to find a better way to use the open source stuff. She gave a slightly awkward smile. All I did was make one phone call to my friend. It was nothing. Mark, sitting opposite her, continued, you perfectly filled an empty spot on the project. You saved time, and it's also a good opportunity for your friend who's job hunting. It seems simple, but to handle it that cleanly requires real skill. Joy blushed at his compliment, raising a hand to tuck her hair back. The afternoon sun streamed through the window. Their voices rang out. Cheryl, are you feeling the heat? Your face says it all. All right, let's call it a day here. Stepping out of the cafe, Joy stretched. The feature list is almost done. We will probably only need to meet in person like this 1 or 2 more times. The evening air is so pleasant. The two of them chatted as they strolled down the street. So as we discussed, we just need to check our progress online. Yeah, that's right. Now we just have to grind through the code. Mark closed his eyes slightly, thinking to himself. So our private time together after work is about to end. What is this feeling? His train of thought continued to the bus stop. Why does the walk to the bus stop feel shorter today? The display showed the bus was arriving soon. He softly called out to the person walking ahead. Cherry. She turned her head to look at Mark. If you don't mind, let me treat you to dinner, he added. It's almost dinner time anyway. Mark added as if afraid she would refuse. He thought of the small note and to celebrate the side project going well. I also have a few things I want to ask. After saying it, he realized what he was doing. Wait, doesn't this make me look like a flirt? This is so extra, damn it. I should have been prepared for rejection. Just then, Joy cheerfully agreed. Sure, so what should we eat now? This left Mark completely surprised. She agreed just like that? She then asked if he had anything specific he wanted to eat. Mark answered hesitantly. No, I am just starting to think about it now. Joy's face lit up as she told him. Then don't worry, just follow me. Crowds passed by under the sunset. Mark looked around and exclaimed, it's so crowded for a weekday. Joy led the way, signaling for him to look around. There are a lot of good restaurants here. I know this area well since I live nearby. She pointed towards a towering building. Oh, by the way, that is the apartment I live in. Looking over there, he was shocked. Oh my God. You live in such a tall place? An apartment complex hidden behind the skyscraper. Joy explained, no, I mean the building behind that one. Mark thought to himself, and here I was thinking. He mentally calculated the travel time from his place. It probably only takes about 10 minutes, right? Turns out we live so close to each other. Then Joy held up her phone, interrupting Mark. By the way, do you eat lamb? He replied, sounds good. Joy's eyes crinkled in a happy smile. Then you are in for a treat. I know a super famous place. Mark also smiled and replied, lead the way. He stood frozen amidst the line of people. The electronic display showed, catch me, enter your phone number. We will send real-time waiting status via text message. Super moldy grilled lamb guangan branch. Current waiting list, 16 parties. Estimated waiting time, 64 minutes. Mark scratched his head awkwardly. I guess it really is famous. Joy replied while tapping on her phone. It seems hard to get in without a reservation. She confidently puffed out her chest. No problem, I still have a plan B. A sign on the door read, for lease. Joy, holding her phone, froze and muttered, but it was definitely still open last week. Seeing this, Mark gently tried to ease the situation. If not, we can just eat at a simple franchise restaurant. It does not have to be a famous place. Joy looked down at her phone again. Are there no better ideas? Looking at her, Mark thought to himself, she looks even more focused than during our study sessions. Joy's eyes widened as if she'd just thought of something. It's so simple, why did not I think of it sooner? The sun was almost set and Joy's voice rang out in a quiet place. We can leisurely relax and enjoy ourselves. She looked at Mark with a bright smile. I know a place that is super close by. He looked back at her, confused. Then Mark was startled with suspicion. Wait, don't tell me you are thinking of the residential area you just mentioned? Oh, by the way, that is the apartment I live in. Mark's face clearly showed his tension, while Joy next to him was still smiling, holding her phone. Her apartment? The last rays of sunlight lingered on the horizon and the streetlights turned on. A faint light shone on the iron railing. The two sat on the stone steps and Joy spoke first. This place has a nice vibe, does not it? Since this place is right in front of the station, I come here occasionally. Mark replied awkwardly, the weather is cool and pleasant. He lowered his head to take a drink, silently scolding himself. Kang Dong-gu, you crazy bastard, what the hell were you thinking? Mark raised a hand to wipe the drink from his mouth. Damn it, what kind of dirty thoughts just crossed my mind? I have to change the subject. Just talk to clear my head. He started to speak hesitantly. I am still reading the book you gave me yesterday. It is really good. Hearing that, Joy replied happily, Oh wow, I was worried you would find it boring. Mark continued hesitantly, but he avoided her gaze as he spoke. The poem you marked with a sticky note as your favorite. Before I could see which one it was, the note somehow fell out. She did not seem to mind at all, smiling as she asked, Oh really? Joy glanced over asking, Are you curious? Mark replied in a low voice, I guess you could say that. Joy had a teasing look, excitedly exclaiming, Now that it has come to this, I am not going to tell you. He was surprised, blurting out, But why? But she did not answer, just lowered her eyes and smiled. The sky had gradually turned dark. Joy's voice piped up, If the study group ends well, and we both succeed in changing jobs. She gently fiddled with her fingers on her lap. Then I will tell you. But under Mark's attentive gaze, she added, Only if Dong-gu is still curious by then. He looked away, not looking at her anymore. The last rays of sunlight shone on the steps behind them. Then I will also tell you which poem is my favorite at that time. Mark remembered Joy's face when she said, Make sure to give it a read. Then let me know which poem you found most impressive. He was silent for a moment. She did not say anything either. Then Joy suddenly chuckled softly and said, While the dandelion sways gently, thinking back, I think this is the first time I have seen you drink Dong-gu. He replied dryly. Is that so? Joy smiled cheerfully. Is this the first time you have had a drink alone with a coworker? Mark replied in a calm tone. It is not the first time, he added softly. Just recently, I had a drink with Esther. The answer made Joy a little surprised. Oh, really? The two fell into silence again as people chatted under the sunset. Last week, during an off-site trip, we somehow ended up having dinner together. Too much information, I know. Note, too much information. He closed his eyes. Too much information means providing too much unnecessary information beyond what was asked. He explained with his eyes closed. I was just afraid of being misunderstood. Joy had a teasing expression. What's this? Did I hit a nerve? Are you really with Esther? She popped open her can while Mark exclaimed, There is no way that is happening. She laughed it off in response. I am just kidding. How did you get so close to Esther all of a sudden? Joy said as she brought the can to her lips. When I first joined our team, I do not think you two were that close, were you? Remembering the scene of Mark and a girl sitting on the train. I remember now, it was Jiang Cheryl, right? Esther was being nosy, a picture of crossed fingers. Do not worry, I won't tell anyone. Mark glanced into the distance and swallowed dryly. He spoke under Joy's curious gaze. I am not sure. Maybe it is because we have had to work together more lately. Starting next week, I will be helping the business development team with a proposal. We have been talking a lot because of things related to that. A proposal is a formal document presenting an idea, plan, or solution to a specific problem. Its main goal is to persuade the recipient to agree and support the plan. A plan or solution for a specific problem. The main goal of a proposal is to persuade the recipient to agree and support the implementation of that plan. She made a suggestion that startled Mark. How about the three of us? Joy just calmly took a sip and replied, We are just colleagues going out for a meal. If you want to go, just go. What is the big deal? The sunlight gilded the river in front of them. Joy's voice continued, I am close with Esther. Dong-gu is close with Esther. She held her can, tilted her head, and asked, And we are close with each other too, right? Joy's voice was filled with curiosity. So what is there to be awkward about? I think it would be a lot of fun. She tilted her head even further as she continued to ask. Joy's voice was filled with curiosity. So what is there to be awkward about? I think it would be a lot of fun. She tilted her head even further as she continued to ask. I was planning to treat you to a proper meal today, but it did not work out. I am sorry. Next time I will treat you to a really good place, to make up for it. Mark scratched his head awkwardly, comforting Joy. What are you sorry for? I was the one who asked you to dinner. Suwon was sitting on a bench by the road eating ice cream. Mark saw her and asked curiously, Did you just get off work? Facing Joy's curious gaze, he whispered, That's my older sister. Max continued the introduction. This is my colleague. She tucked her hair behind her ear and greeted his sister with a bright smile. Lately, Dong-gu has helped me out a lot. Max rolled his eyes while explaining to his sister. That study group I mentioned before, she's the one I study with. Suwon remained silent, eating her ice cream. Then she smiled warmly and greeted her. I'm Dong-gu's older sister. You two must be working hard, staying so late. The two happily greeted each other, leaving a speechless Max standing to the side. This is ice cream. Do you want some? Take the cone. The cone is delicious. Thank you. ROI held the ice cream bar in her hand and said goodbye to Suwon. Well then, I'll be going now. Dong-gu, see you tomorrow. The ice cream was absolutely amazing. His sister didn't forget to add, watch the road carefully. Max also remembered to say, stay safe. He silently watched Joy's figure as she left. Suwon glanced at her little brother while eating her ice cream. The two talked under the night sky. Tomorrow is Buddha's birthday. You're free, right? He replied, Yeah, why? The next day, the sun shone brightly. Suwon glared at him threateningly. You can't hide anything from me. Maximus carried the bags behind his sister and asked, Who are you talking about? Suwon replied, The person from your company. Who else? People just call him Max. A signpost stood in front of them as they walked and talked. So is it a one-sided crush or is it mutual? What are you talking about? It's not what you think. Yesterday, your breath reeked of alcohol, you know? And just 2 days ago, this one and only sister of yours asked you for a drink. And you yelled at me. How am I supposed to just get lost? After saying that, Suwon noticed the passers-by staring. His sister coughed and lowered her voice. Most of all, for a dry person like you to bring a poetry book home, does that even make sense? Max's face darkened as he asked, you went into my room, didn't you? Suwon sighed and teased. Hey, you were reading it right in front of me the other day, little brother. You might as well just come out and say it. The two sat opposite each other in a restaurant. So, what else? Max picked up some food and replied, we're just normal colleagues. He avoided his sister's gaze. Maybe to her, that's all I am. While eating, Suwon commented. So it's a one-sided love. Well, that makes sense. With your looks, who would even notice you? She looked at her little brother with a preachy tone. Just looking at you, I can tell this path will only bring you pain. My poor little brother. You're not gonna give up already, are you? Seeing his reaction, Suwon was displeased and demanded, what's with that reaction? Don't tell me you like her that much already? Mark replied curtly. I don't know, just be quiet. Speechless, he asked his sister back. Did you drag me all the way here just to ask about this? Suwon picked up her glass of water as she spoke. I can't just be blunt about it. After all, it's my only little brother's love life. I can't just be blunt about it. After all, it's my only little brother's love life. Suwon's expression turned serious. Anyway, we have to fix that hair of yours. Confused, Max whispered. What do you mean? He sat frozen in the barber chair while his sister discussed with the owner behind him. Too much change at once will be hard to get used to. For today, just trim the messy parts and show him how to style it. The owner's eyes were full of interest, and her voice annoyed him. Well then, shall we begin? The next day, while Joy was walking her usual route, she heard a familiar voice. It made her look over. What's this? It's funny seeing you with new hair and new clothes. He looked extremely sharp and was being teased. Are you going on a blind date? My goodness, you look completely different from usual. Is that making you a little shy? I don't know why I changed salons. Do I look that strange? An older colleague said, no, it's not bad. It looks pretty good, but it turns out. You've had your hair done before, right? Jaden looked for a moment then said, but doesn't it look a bit unnatural? I still think Max's old hairstyle was easier on the eyes. Hey, this neat style is still better, right? No one said it looks bad. It's just a little unfamiliar. A moment later at the company, ROI came over and whispered, it suits you. Showing your forehead makes you look much brighter. Did you style it yourself? Suddenly, Max's voice trembled. Yes, they showed me how at the salon. Then she giggled. You're not awkward at all for a first-timer. You seem to have a knack for this. Then she giggled. For a first-timer, you don't seem awkward at all. How come you seem to have such a knack for this? But hey, are you really going on a blind date? Don't start dating now, Dong-gu. You still need to focus on your professional development. Because Joy's questions were so relentless, Max became flustered. It's not like that, she continued to joke. Or are you trying to impress someone? This made the young man jump and fall silent. It was as if ROI had guessed right, so he got shy. Just then, a colleague came over and asked, oh my god, what is this? Is this the Max I know? You even trimmed your eyebrows. What an investment. Please keep your voice down. He thought helplessly to himself. I just got a haircut and a new outfit. Why is everyone making such a big deal out of it? Then Esther giggled. Showing your forehead makes you look much taller. If you go out on the street now, then Esther giggled. Showing your forehead makes you look much taller. If you go out on the street now, even I wouldn't recognize you. Please just go back to your seats. Just then, a message appeared on Mark's phone. It's not what you think. Why is my life so hard? Joy noticed Mark was glued to his screen, and Esther was no different. She was even humming with an interested look, which made Joy wonder more about who Mark liked. Just then, someone approached. Mark, can I ask you something about the file you posted on Workspace? That won't work. While they were talking, the girl with the ponytail suddenly realized, huh, did the guy who used to sit here quit? Who is this stranger? This made her short-haired friend embarrassed. Sorry, my friend is just like that. Then she whispered, follow me, quick. Hearing this, he felt a bit awkward. It's okay. What did I even look like before? People's reactions died down more than I thought. And then night came. Esther appeared from behind, yawning, and asked Mark, you haven't left work yet? Sorry, my friend is just like that. Then she whispered, follow me, quick. Hearing that, he felt a bit awkward. Are you also working overtime because of that? She replied, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, assigning this to a designer and a dev. Then she made a listless face. And then night came. Esther appeared from behind, yawning widely, and asked Mark. Hearing that, he didn't know how to comfort her. Well, we just have to endure it for a week. You think a week is easy or something? Are you working overtime for that too, Esther? Seeing that, she replied, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking assigning this to a designer and a dev. Then she put on a listless expression. They're clearly trying to cause trouble. Soon they'll find some unreasonable excuse to pick a fight. He replied, I doubt they'd mix personal feelings with work like that. Hearing that, he didn't know how to comfort her. Well, we just have to try for a week. You think a week is easy or something? During meetings, it's already a blessing if we don't argue. And with that, the workday was over. Esther and Max took the same elevator. As she pressed the button, she said, you saw their tone during the feedback session too. I sent it in the group chat. Did that look like feedback to you? They're obviously trying to cause trouble. Soon enough, they'll find an unreasonable excuse to pick a fight, you'll see, he replied. I doubt they'd mix personal feelings with work like that. Then she sighed and complained, what sin did I commit in my past life to suffer like this? Or maybe I should just make a big deal out of this now. Suddenly she covered her mouth and said, sorry. Have I been complaining too much? Not at all. Esther was flustered. Negative energy is just very contagious. Did I complain too much? No, not at all. Esther was flustered. Negative energy is just really contagious. If you feel like you can't take it anymore and are about to explode, just come to me. I'll be an emotional trash can for you to use. This made her glance at him. Then she remembered the exact words she once said. If you ever have any difficulties in the future, just come find me. I'm more than willing to be your emotional dumping ground. Oops. Esther unknowingly smiled and teased. You'd better keep your word. When I start bothering someone, they really suffer. Hearing her say that, Mark took back his offer. In that case, I take it back. This made her get all worked up. Hey, you like messing with me, don't you? Suddenly, the elevator jolted to a stop, making the two of them inside realize their situation. Seeing her reaction, Mark took back his words. All right then, I take it back. Which got her all riled up. Hey, you enjoy messing with me, don't you? The elevator stopped. It breaks down so often lately, it must be malfunctioning again. It's only the beginning of the week and it's already this unlucky. The rest of the week is probably going to be a disaster. Hearing this, Mark tried to comfort her the only way he knew how. Getting the bad luck out of the way. Just think of this as getting it over with. And so, 15 minutes later, Mark looked at his watch, thinking to himself, I've already called maintenance, and they said they'd handle it soon. I wonder when we'll get out of here. Getting the bad luck out of the way. Just think of this as getting it over with. And so, 15 minutes later, Mark looked at his watch, thinking to himself, I've already called maintenance, and they said they'd handle it soon. I wonder when we'll get out of here. Suddenly, Mark felt like teasing her. We're between the second and third floors, so even if we fall, we won't die. Making her heart skip a beat, he continued, At worst, we'll just break a few bones. I wonder if this counts as a workplace accident? Leaving Esther speechless, oh my god. Shouldn't you be saying something comforting like, it's okay right now? Are you going to talk like that in front of Joy too? I wonder if this counts as a workplace accident? Leaving Esther speechless, oh my god. Shouldn't you be saying something comforting like, it's okay right now? Are you going to talk like that in front of Joy too? Hearing that, Mark fell silent. Well, about that. Suddenly, she leaned against the wall, her voice trembling. Maybe we should listen to some music? Oh my god, I forgot my earphones. Then Mark took something out. Wait a second. Wait for what? He held out the earphones. I'm looking for some calming music. What is it? Got it. He handed her the other earbud. This might help calm you down. Looking a bit awkward, he said. We'll be out soon, so don't worry anymore. Hearing that, Esther took it. Then, she smiled unconsciously, her hand swaying slightly as she asked, This is a nice song. What's it called? This got him excited. A true music addict. This one? I just recently discovered it myself. Suddenly, the elevator lights came back on, and Esther couldn't help but be overjoyed. The elevator is working again. Mark, it's moving. Seeing that, Mark asked for it back. Then give me back the earbud, which made her giggle. Oh, come on. However, when the elevator doors opened, they never expected the person standing in front of them to be. Joy looked at the two of them with a surprised expression, too stunned to speak. The other two were breaking out in a sweat. Also looking surprised, Esther hesitantly said, Joy, didn't you just get off work? Joy averted her eyes and stammered, I came back for the wallet, I forgot. Feeling flustered, she rubbed the rim of her ear. Mark had an earbud in one ear. To break the awkward atmosphere, Esther quickly brushed past Joy, stammering. I'll get going, my train is arriving soon, Joy replied. Get home safe. But she forgot and walked off with his other earbud. Mark reached out to call after her. Wait, my earbud, but then he turned and walked away. Mark thought to himself, better not. If I make Esther give the earbud back now. This situation is a bit suggestive, but he was still kind enough to tell Joy to use the freight elevator next to this one. This one just got stuck midway. Joy replied, okay, thanks. Suddenly, she noticed something. Mark was missing an earbud in his other ear, which made Joy's eyes widen in confusion. She gulped. In his mind, Mark really wanted to wait for her and go home together. But as he walked away, he looked back and said, well then, see you tomorrow. Both Joy and Mark froze, looking at each other. He looked dumbfounded. Damn it, I couldn't hear what she just said. Did you just say something? She laughed teasingly. No, it was nothing. Joy politely turned and waved. Goodbye, see you tomorrow. As she reached the station entrance, someone suddenly called her name. Esther turned around in surprise to see Mark, who had clearly run hard to catch up. He said while panting heavily, no, give me my earbud back. Esther looked confused and asked, huh? What are you talking about? Why are you here? Shouldn't you be taking this chance to go home with Joy right now? I could have just returned it tomorrow. She handed back the earbud, and as he took it, he spoke. I told you I'm still thinking about it, Esther exclaimed. Oh my god, keep hesitating like that, and don't blame me when someone else snatches her up. Mark looked blankly. Who was it that told me not to rush and to think it through carefully? She sighed in exasperation. I meant everything in moderation, get it? Esther asked. I have to go catch my train. What about you, Mark? He remained silent. In the bustling crowd, Esther focused on her phone while Mark was lost in thought. It's a pretty long walk from the station to the bus stop. So taking the train today would be much better. She snuck a glance at him, and when she saw something, her eyes widened in surprise. She hesitated. Whether to get closer or move away, it was Mark's choice to make. He suddenly turned to look at her. But if you do choose to move away, I hope. The reason isn't because you feel you're not good enough, Mark asked. What, do you want me to protect the self-esteem of the entire district? Getting cocky now, are we? Esther's face lit up with excitement. This could be interesting. Do you want me to lend a hand? He quickly backtracked. No, that's really not necessary. She fell silent, observing him. I've told you this before, Mark is underestimating himself. On the train, they both sat quietly until he broke the silence. Are you really going to believe what a drunk person said? Their shoulders were pressed together as she replied, Oh my God. Mark, what kind of person do you take me for? You. Esther glared at him. I'm not the type who just hands out compliments that easily. To get a compliment from me, you'd have to be lucky for 3 lifetimes, you know? He mumbled in agreement, and she continued to encourage him. Don't be so negative. If you just keep acting like you did today, your chances of success will be much higher. Esther gave a gentle smile. He looked at her and slowly said, Hey Esther. She looked over. What is it? His face was filled with confusion. Lately, you keep mixing up formal and informal speech, you know? Esther said excitedly. That's because we're close. How about we just tell each other our ages? If the gap is around 2 years, we can be friends, okay? Mark immediately refused with a look of annoyance. No way. Absolutely not. Like I've said, at the office. She sighed helplessly. Yeah, just colleagues. I get it. I know. To be honest, I didn't plan on being friends with you anyway, Mark. Mark fell silent again, lost in thought. Come to think of it, I haven't even thanked Esther yet. He remembered her words. If you don't say it, how will they know? Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Thanks to her, I cleared up the misunderstanding with joy. Mark mumbled, Hey Esther. He hesitated. Thanks for everything. He suddenly stood up, much to Esther's confusion. My train is here, so I'm leaving first. She smiled lightly and called after Mark, whispering, I still prefer the version of you before the revisions. Smiling gently even after Mark had gotten off the train, she said, Goodbye, see you tomorrow. On his way, Mark was silently puzzled. What did she mean by that? Time to go home. In front of the counter, Esther stood deep in thought. She was very conflicted. Iced chamomile tea, 2,501. Hot chamomile tea, 2,501. Joy appeared and said, You're early today, Esther. She greeted her back. Hey, well, it's Friday. Gotta try to get off work right at 5 to enjoy the weekend, right? Esther said as she selected the chamomile tea. Pick something. It's on me. The chamomile tea is 2,501. Joy was quiet for a moment, then reached out to select the same thing as Esther. Then I'll have the same, but I'll get the hot version. Hot chamomile tea, 2,501. The two of them laughed together in the cafe. Thanks for the drink, no problem. The receipt printed out, payment complete. Suddenly, Joy went quiet. A moment later, she said seriously, Esther, there's something I want to ask you. Joy hesitated. It's about. Suddenly, she saw a very familiar, disheveled figure behind Esther. She immediately avoided eye contact and said, Never mind, let's talk about it next time, leaving Esther utterly confused. A few days later, a colleague teased, What's with you? Your hair looks like you just rolled out of bed. Mark replied sluggishly, still half asleep. I'm tired of having to fix my hair every morning, so I gave up. In the meeting room, a man with his arms crossed spoke up, looking annoyed. You call this acceptable work? Where's the design draft? Why haven't I seen it yet? The man who just spoke was nicknamed Andrew at the company. The business development planner, Esther's ex-boyfriend. Esther slammed the table in anger. Did AI suddenly demand a revision and apply the new specs without any warning? He shot back. It only takes a couple of hours to get it done. What's the big deal? Can't let my work go unnoticed. Hearing that, she snapped. So easy for you to talk about another department's work, huh? Mark sat beside her, thinking exhaustedly. It's barely morning and it's already like this. In the men's restroom, Mark was washing his hands, telling himself, just get through this week, and it'll all be over. Just then, Andrew pushed open the restroom door. He came closer and asked, Hey Mark, you smoke? He answered, no. He suggested, Oh, well, let's go get some air then. We're free anyway. He was confused. What's this? And thought, what's with this bad feeling, as they headed outside. They were standing by a no smoking sign that read, For the sake of those around you, please help eliminate smoke. Andrew started complaining. The designers at this company really have some issues. Never mind how they handle their work, but the most basic thing, prioritizing tasks, they have absolutely no sense of it. He kept rambling. If they worked like that somewhere else, they'd get yelled at. That's why, if you're going to hire experienced people, you should at least get them from a well-known company. That's why you shouldn't start your career at a place like Joshua. Mark thought, fed up. I was pretty much dragged out here, and now I have to deal with secondhand smoke. This is getting some air? He's just been saying what he wanted this whole time. He asked, Right, Mark? Is that a fake laugh you're giving me? Then he thought to himself, they used to date, after all. Does he really have to go that far? He continued to complain. I've never seen a company that encourages using English nicknames while also preaching about equality so much. Mark looked at him and thought, anyway, there's always a bunch of people who just badmouth the company and others. Suddenly, Andrew said, Honestly, I don't belong in a place like this. The smoke from his cigarette billowed, obscuring the no smoking sign. Honestly, I don't belong in a place like this. The smoke from him billowed, obscuring the no smoking sign. A while later, Mark headed back into the office. He muttered in annoyance. It's already lunchtime, damn it, he thought as he walked back to his desk. I'm so tired, I'll probably just take a nap at my desk. Just then, he saw Joy still focused on her work. He watched her for a moment, then asked, It's lunchtime, aren't you going to eat? Joy was surprised. Is it that late already? Mark hesitated. What should I do? He wondered how to bring it up. Max hesitated. What should I do? He was wondering how to even start the conversation. I haven't eaten either. Should we go together? Would it be okay to say that? Joy spoke up, looking very hesitant. Should I just skip lunch? He decided, yeah, I'll just take a nap. Just then, she spoke up. Well, since it's come to this, how about we go eat together? His eyes lit up, and they went to a restaurant near the company. Joy hummed happily as she ate. Mark, sitting across from her, smiled and thought to himself that this was definitely the best lunch he's had in days. Watching her eat so happily lifted his spirits. To him, just sitting across from her eating like this felt like all the stress from the morning had disappeared. How can it be so magical? Mark asked. Hey, when is our study group this week? Joy replied immediately. Is your schedule okay? It looked like you were busy with Esther all day. Mark answered, I'll try to leave work on time for once. It probably won't be a problem. Then he silently decided, at worst, I'll work overtime before the study group day. Or even pull an all-nighter. She just said, which made him feel uneasy. Such a casual reaction. Then, her words, how about we take a break this week, hit him like a lightning bolt. Joy saw his reaction and quickly explained, because I have an English-speaking test this weekend. The exam is really close, so I need to focus more this week. He remembered her saying, actually, I've been practicing speaking lately, and it dawned on him, so the practice she mentioned before was for this exam? She asked, a little worried, is that okay? He was startled and replied immediately, of course. This is for you to move on to a better place. He wished her good luck with the exam. Mark was incredibly down, lost in thought as he worked. I didn't realize that besides our study group, she was preparing for a new job in other ways too. She must be really serious about this. She's preparing for a new job in other ways too. She must be really serious about this. He recalled what Donald had told him. By the way, if you're open to it, the company has agreed to renegotiate your salary. He wondered, if Joy leaves the company soon, wouldn't it be too late by then? He asked himself, if Joy leaves the company soon, won't it be too late by then? You can proceed to restore the work file. To restore the data to its previous state, please press confirm below. The box showed two options. You can proceed to restore the work file. If you want to restore the data to its previous state, press confirm below. The box showed two options. Will I regret this? Just then, Esther appeared behind Mark and spoke. Mark, there you are. Is something wrong? Why the serious look? She asked. Mark replied. Esther, you haven't left yet. She sighed. Why the serious look? He asked. Esther, you haven't left work yet? She sighed. He asked. You drink chamomile tea, Esther? I thought you only drank iced Americanos. She replied. I've been having insomnia lately, so I'm trying a 2-week caffeine detox. Mind if I sit here for a bit? She said. Hey Mark. So I'm trying a 2-week caffeine detox. Mind if I sit here for a bit? She called. Hey Mark. Then she started asking about the meeting this morning. I acted too emotionally. Went too far, didn't I? Like a child with no self-control. Is it too late to apologize now? In his head, Mark cursed that guy. He was just talking all that trash behind your back. What are you apologizing for? They were the ones who started nitpicking and raising their voices, but Esther looked a bit conflicted. I just feel bad for you, Mark. You must have been in an awkward position, stuck in the middle. He observed her, thinking that Esther was actually kind in a way. It's almost too much. Suddenly he asked, Esther, do you have any regrets about dating a guy like that? She fell silent for a moment, thinking, as the room became quiet. It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. They both sat in silence, and Mark felt a shiver. He scolded himself. Kang Dong-gu, you idiot. No matter how close you are, you have to draw a line. Then he turned and said, sorry, what I just said was thoughtless. She replied, I hate him, but I don't regret it. He was surprised, thinking, she's so composed. Esther gave a small smile and continued, I think regretting a missed opportunity because you didn't try is more painful than a breakup, she shared optimistically. It was short, but I learned a few lessons from that relationship. He observed her, then thought to himself, Esther's voice is so decisive. Her eyes are full of confidence. She playfully hit him while laughing. There's nothing to apologize for. There's no need to walk on eggshells between us. He thought to himself, Esther is really strong, and compared to her, Mark remembered that time Joy had said, doing this on a weekend is a bit of a hassle. Then she even asked, or are you trying to impress that AI guy? He realized that all this time, all he's ever done is run away. He recalled those words, keep hesitating, and don't blame me when someone else sweeps her off her feet. Mark was lost in thought for a moment. Then he spoke, Esther, you're right. She beamed. See? Then just be comfortable, like we're friends. Don't be shy. He replied out of nowhere. I want to get closer to that person. This surprised Esther. Huh? He confessed. But I don't know how. I'm really clumsy when it comes to that stuff. After saying that, He hesitated in embarrassment and squeezed his eyes shut. Finally, he turned to her for help. Esther, please help me. She was frozen, not understanding what was happening. Esther scratched her head awkwardly. So, what you mean, Mark, is that you need someone to ask for advice and help. And the person you think is right for the job is me. So, Mark nodded eagerly. She asked, but if I agree to help you, what will you do for me in return? Mark was flustered. Well, before he could finish, she spoke. Of course, right? It's a two-way street, Mark asked. So what do you want? Esther thought for a moment and came up with an idea. Esther set a condition, 1 usage coupon. She reconsidered 1 is too few. Let's make it 5. He was confused, but what does that thing even do? Esther explained it's just like its name, a mysterious coupon that can grant any request. Like wishes commands a bunch of slaps or that kind of thing. He hesitantly suggested, how about just cash instead? Is that okay? Esther replied. Oh really, if you don't want it, fine. You're the one losing out, not me. That he quickly agreed. No wait, let's do it that way. 5 coupons, right? She smiled brightly. Alright, it's a deal, transaction complete. At this moment he wondered to himself, I think I've gotten myself dragged into something again. I suddenly feel so anxious. Esther clenched her fists with determination. It's all for a happy future for Max and Joy. He did the same as her and said, for the future, he suddenly thought, but he wondered. So where do I start? Esther replied. No need to rush, but he was a bit suspicious. Can I really trust her? But he wondered. So where do I start now? Esther replied. No rush. And yet he was a bit suspicious. Can I really trust her? Mark asked again. Who? What's wrong with you, sis? You're really persistent. The person you said you like that cute girl, is she older or younger than you? The person you said you like that cute girl, is she older or younger than you? They don't seem that far apart in age, he replied. I don't know, Suwon got angry. His sister could only sigh. I spent all that money on your hair and new clothes, and it was all for nothing. You're really a lost cause, little bro. Forget about dating, just go back to grinding your games. Hearing that he just kept quiet and ignored it, he suddenly realized, thinking back, he realized he'd only learned her real name. Recently, her age, her relationship history, hobbies, favorite food, hometown. He admitted, just like Esther said, I still don't know much about the girl named Jang Charon. Thinking back, he wondered, I only just learned her real name recently, her age, her relationship history. Have you been to the new dessert cafe that just opened? Joy smiled and replied. I haven't, Jaden said excitedly. I've tried it once. It's pretty good. If you're free this afternoon, then Mark sat on the side fuming internally. This jerk, it's work hours. Why is he still here? Then Esther showed up, grabbed his collar and dragged him off while chiding him. Jaden, can't you see? Joy is busy. Stop slacking off and get back to work, he yelled. You're stretching my shirt. This jerk, it's work hours. Why is he still here? Then Esther showed up, grabbed his collar and dragged him off while chiding him. When can you get that done? Then she turned and winked at Max. He was speechless and wondered, did she just help me? Jaden mumbled, I was going to do it after lunch. Esther retorted, I told you it was urgent. Try to get it done, as soon as possible. When can you get that done? Then she turned and winked at Max. He was speechless and wondered, did she just help me? Mark mustered up his courage, turned and asked Joy, are you busy right now? Mark resolved, since Esther has helped me this much, I have to. He shyly asked, let me go get it for you, the coffee. Joy turned to look at him, and Max silently looked back. Later at the coffee shop, Joy replied while working, I am busy, but I'm sure I have enough time to go get a cup of coffee. He shyly asked, let me go get it for you, the coffee. Joy turned to look at him and Max silently looked back later at the coffee shop. While ordering, Max thought, since there's no study group this week, so there's almost no time to build a personal connection. He thought to himself, that's why at times like these, I absolutely cannot waste this opportunity. He kindly asked, what would you like to drink, Joy? She replied, I'll have the same. He held the receipt in his hand, order number 02, product chamomile tea, takeout quantity 2. Max stared at the receipt and then spoke. I've been wondering for a while, but Joy, how old are you? He pretended to be calm on the outside, but inside he was cheering. I finally said it. Joy didn't answer directly, but asked back, how old do you think I am? Max was flustered. He groaned internally. She threw the question right back at me. Max started to reason. This is her 5th year in the industry. If she started working right after college graduation, then she must be at least a little older than me, right? She just smiled. He seemed pretty confident in his calculation. But seeing her expression, he thought he was screwed. He angrily cursed himself internally. How can I be so stupid? I should have just said you look younger without hesitating. He quickly tried to recover. No, I mean you look like you're my age. But you have so much experience, so I couldn't guess for sure. He gritted his teeth and cursed himself again. I shouldn't have said that either. At the pickup counter, Joy said irritably, you need to think outside the box. She said, it's true, I might have a 4-year bachelor's degree like you assumed, but I could have also just gone to a 2-year college. Or even just graduated from high school. She explained, and that's not even counting the possibility it took me a few years to find a job. He laughed and replied, that's true. He thought to himself, the more she talks, the more confused I get. Joy suddenly asked, speaking of which, is your type older, younger, or same-aged people? He was confused. What do you mean by type? She said. Your type for a partner, Max stammered. I've never really thought about it. Joy then suggested, well, think about it now, he thought, bewildered. Why is she so curious about that all of a sudden? He answered while watching Joy. For me, age doesn't matter. As long as we can go through things together, anyone is fine. After hearing that, she gave him a meaningful smile. Then she burst out laughing, dodging the question. That's a very smooth answer. He quickly clarified, I'm serious. Joy held her drink and asked, so you're really that curious about my age? Mark admitted he was. She looked over at him, leaned in close and whispered, 20. As she was about to continue, she changed her mind. I'm not going to tell you. A little later at the vending machine, Esther asked, I saw you and Joy go out for coffee just now, right? Why? The long face, Mark replied dejectedly from his chair. It's just that I tried so hard. Why, the long face Mark slouched in his chair replied, it's just that it was so hard. Ah, he continued miserably. I don't even know the age of the person I like. I'm so useless. She spoke up. I thought it was something serious, she said. If you want, I can tell you. He asked what, she replied. Joy's age, I know it. She spoke up. I thought it was a big deal. I said if you want, I'll tell you. He asked what. She replied Joy's age. I know it. Esther suggested if you really want to know that badly, then try begging me. Max sat there timidly. He hesitated to look at her, then Esther covered her mouth, trying not to laugh at him. Then Max looked down again, still hesitating. Maybe it's better to just forget it, since it seems like Joy doesn't want to tell me, he continued, so I don't think finding out from a third party is a good idea, Esther said helplessly with a hint of blame. Gosh, you're so frustrating. Why stick to that idea when no one would know? Max looked down, silent and dejected. Suddenly, he raised his index finger and pointed at her. Max said blankly, but you know Esther. Esther awkwardly denied it. No, that's. Then he looked down again, unable to hide his sad expression. I feel really lucky that the one who knows my secret is you, Esther. She just looked at him silently. Mark continued to open up, even though Esther was just listening. It feels like I'm giving a confession. But I feel so much more relieved, Esther gave a wry smile. Whatever, just don't come crying to me later asking me to tell you again. One morning at the office building, Max was sitting with his eyes closed, looking deep in thought. Suddenly, a very gentle voice called his name, Dong-gu. An image of Joy appeared, stroking her long hair and giving him a gentle smile. What do you want to eat today? Just say the word and I'll buy everything for you. Senior Jang Charon wasn't finished when another voice called out. Hey Dong-gu. Another image of Joy appeared, this time with playful pigtails. Let's have spicy Sichuan hot pot for dinner. I'm so hungry. Jang Charon the Jr. Finally, another decisive voice called out, Hey Dong-gu. It was another image of Joy with a different, very energetic personality. You're free after work, right? Let's go for a drink, Jang Charon. Same age as Mark. The more he thought, the more conflicted he felt. All three possibilities seemed plausible. As he was lost in his imagination, Joy suddenly showed up and greeted him with a smile. Hey Mark, she called. He jumped and replied yes. Joy asked puzzled, what were you thinking about? You looked so serious. He stammered out an excuse. I was just thinking about the impact of rapid AI development on the job market for programmers. Hearing that, Joy burst out laughing. What in the world? Suddenly she asked seriously. Hey Max, you asked my age this morning, right? She said, putting her tablet down on the table. Instead of my age, I'll tell you another secret. He was confused. Another secret, Joy explained that it was her birthday. Looking at her, he thought to himself that if it was her birthday, he was just as curious about it as her age. Then Joy pointed to the calendar on the screen. Here it's this day, May 27th. He thought about the date. His face suddenly turned pale. May 27th. I'm freaking out, that's next week. Yeah, she replied with a wide smile. That's right, she smiled shyly, as if inviting him. I'm planning a birthday party. Will you come, Max? Make a note so you don't forget, Max said with a gloomy, soulless face. I'm begging you. I've never given a proper gift to a girl before. Please help me pick one, he said, as Esther stood leaning against the wall with her arms crossed. It wasn't hard to speak up, but she didn't expect Kang Dong-gu to be so high maintenance. He wondered why she suddenly used his full name, but then she just quickly brightened up, looking cheerful. When you promise to help, you have to see it through, right? I already promised, but before we choose a gift, I have one question. What would you normally get for Joy? He carefully checked something on his phone. His face looked drained. Joy has a wish list on Gifticon, so I was thinking of choosing something from it. The most useful one from the list. Esther also looked on thoughtfully, wondering about his phone. Are you on that Gifticon page right now? Mark hesitated, looking at the vouchers on the screen, and Esther smiled awkwardly. I'm surprised she's so health conscious, seeing that she suggested giving something that Joy actually needs, which is a good idea, right? Esther looked mysterious and said there's something more important. Hearing that, Mark tensed up and asked what it was. Esther gave him a mischievous, teasing look. The guy named Kang Dong-gu has romantic feelings for the girl named Joy, and you have to make her feel that. Simply put, it's a subtle way to flirt without being too pushy, but it has to look as natural as possible. Max was a bit confused. Flirting Esther gave him a meaningful smile. You can't just give her a juice set through Gifticon. Mark bought it and asked curiously, would she hate it? Seeing that Mark wasn't making any progress, she suggested something. This isn't working, Mark. Let's go to the mall together on Friday, shall we? He replied blankly. Huh, Esther gently explained. We'll go choose a gift for Joy together. Mark hesitated, thinking to himself, why does she look so intimidating? And so a few days later on Friday afternoon at the Alex Center, Esther looked incredibly cute and energetic. She greeted him cheerfully, hello Max. As he was waiting, the first thing she asked was why they didn't just come here together after work instead of separately and at different times. Esther replied, oh my gosh, are you really that naive or just reckless? Max was confused. What do you mean? She began to explain. A young male employee and a female employee shopping together at the mall on a Friday afternoon after work. What would people from the company think if they saw that shopping together at the mall on a Friday afternoon after work? If someone from the company saw us, what would they think? They'd misunderstand and think we're dating. Esther quickly replied, exactly. The ever-observant girl continued. You'd get caught up in silly rumors before you even get a chance with the person you like. That would be just great, wouldn't it? We have to be careful. Then Esther handed him a face mask. Here, cover your face. Max was surprised. She even prepared this beforehand. She carefully advised, the lower floors are really crowded at this time. Let's go to the 7th floor first and browse our way down. Okay. Max agreed and followed her. The two of them huddled in a corner of the elevator, his eyes looking tired as he exclaimed, "It's really so crowded." They stood huddled in a corner of the elevator, his eyes looking tired, he exclaimed, "It's really so crowded." She just replied, "See, I told you so." By then the elevator had reached floor B1, and the crowd inside had thinned out. Max thought, thank goodness it's less crowded now. Suddenly a couple got on. The man was chattering excitedly, but his girlfriend seemed aloof. Excuse me coming through. He suddenly saw Patrick in the elevator. Mark was completely shocked and spun around. Why is that guy here? Next to him was his girlfriend. Why did you turn around? The sudden turn pushed Esther further into the corner. She said uncomfortably, Mark, it's too tight. Suddenly, Mark completely shielded her with his body. Esther suddenly found herself in his arms. The situation was so abrupt that Esther was startled and speechless. Too worried about seeing Patrick, Mark didn't even realize what he was doing and kept whispering, Patrick is over there. He was sweating from nervousness, whispering to her, be careful, he might see us. Esther felt a bit awkward, her face suddenly blushing as she stayed silent. Suddenly she moved, pressing herself closer against him. Her action surprised him a little. She explained anxiously, this way they won't be able to see us. Hearing that Mark just hummed in acknowledgement, Esther was so tense she was tightly gripping her dress. After a moment, the elevator finally became less crowded. Now only the two of them remained. Still in the same position, she whispered, we should have taken the escalator, shouldn't we? The elevator finally stopped at the 7th floor. They stepped out awkwardly, and Esther said clumsily, we should have taken the escalator. Mark agreed. Yeah, I didn't expect Patrick to be at the mall. Actually, Patrick had already gotten off on a lower floor. Mark was dejected, helplessly, recalling her warning, it'll be a pain if we get caught. Remember to be careful. Meanwhile, Joy was sitting nibbling on a cake and gazing outside, so they began the serious task of gift shopping. Esther enthusiastically picked things out. This one's nice, she said, holding a shirt up against him. Max naively pointed to himself and asked, for me, Esther shot back, what are you saying? You're so annoying. I meant it would suit me. Max said awkwardly, then why did you hold it up against me? Then she held up 2 different colored hats, asking for his opinion. How about these? Which color looks better? After looking for a moment, Mark gave his serious opinion. I think the beige one. Seeing her happily trying on hats, Mark reminded her wearily, hey Esther, I think we're straying from our original mission here, don't you? She just replied, oh Mark, you don't know how to warm up. I'm sinking myself with the mall. Max was confused. Sinking. You don't know how to warm up. I'm sinking myself with the mall. Max was confused. What's that? A while later, it was almost 7 p.m. After Esther's 1-hour warm-up ended, and despite Mark's zombie-like expression, she was still casually browsing. Hand cream is a bit boring, but a makeup set is too much, he thought. Finally, they started looking for the gift. Suddenly, Esther called Max. Are you listening to me? Max snapped back to reality, looking dazed. She pointed to her phone screen and asked, what do you think about getting her a diffuser or a room spray? Why are you spacing out? Focus Max. Remembered something Joy had said before. My apartment is pretty small. It's just a 1.5-room apartment. Living alone must feel pretty lonely and boring, he thought. If the room was filled with a nice scent, maybe it would feel less lonely. The two of them started walking to another area. Esther agreed. I think that's a great idea, as long as it's not too expensive. I'm sure she'll be happy to receive it. Then let's go with a room spray. It's probably better than a diffuser. Max asked wearily. I wasn't really thinking about it, but is there a reason for that? Esther happily explained. With a diffuser, you just put it in one spot and that's it, right? But with a room spray, a person has to use it by hand each time. Esther gave Mark a sly, teasing look. In other words, every time she uses it, Joy might unconsciously think of you. Just imagine her thinking, Dong-gu gave me this gift, right? See, she pointed out proudly, Mark exclaimed. Wow, I didn't realize it had such a deep meaning. See, she pointed out proudly, Mark exclaimed. Wow, I didn't realize it had such a deep meaning. A staff member warmly introduced. Would you like to try this scent? It's our store's signature fragrance. It's our best seller at the moment. Max carefully smelled each scent and the saleswoman smiled and asked for his thoughts. Does she have a favorite scent? If she does, please tell me Esther. Does she have a favorite scent? If she does, please tell me Esther. But thank you for the feedback. The flustered staff member said, I'm very sorry. Seeing him like that, she waved her hand lightly. Hey Max, you're not mad, are you? Because I think I'm the one who should be mad. Max just replied, I didn't say anything. After a moment, Esther chose the one she wanted to buy. Okay, I've decided on this one. It smells a lot like the hair mist Joy uses. She continued, although I personally prefer this one. I'll probably just order it for myself later. Then Esther told Max, you go pay for this. I'm going to the restroom for a bit. I'll probably just order it for myself later. Then Esther instructed, Max, you go pay. I'm going to the restroom for a bit. He silently looked at the room spray in front of him. It was dark and streetlights were shining everywhere. The two of them were on their way home. He hummed along as he listened. Esther said cheerfully, your mission is simple. Go to the movies with Joy, just the two of you. He hummed along as he listened. Esther said cheerfully, your mission is simple. Go to the movies with Joy, just the two of you. That doesn't seem very feasible. Seeing that she got annoyed, good grief, if you keep this up, it'll take a lifetime. That doesn't seem very feasible. Seeing that she got annoyed, good grief, if you keep this up, it'll take a lifetime. Come on, this is how you close the distance. Esther explained nonchalantly, hoping he would get the hint. That's selfish, you know. Hearing her say that Max was temporarily speechless before he finally spoke. I'm worried too if someone you've never seen as a member of the opposite sex suddenly makes a move. It might make the other person feel burdened, Esther sincerely advised. Then just be smart and use a good reason or excuse. Don't overthink it or make it too complicated if you're complicated. It will only make the other person overthink it too. Just go with the flow. Then she made a joke to break the awkward silence. Just like flowing water, you know. Max was confused. I really don't understand at all. After a while, they arrived at the subway station. Now Esther turned to say goodbye to Max. Well then, have a great weekend. I'm leaving now. Seeing her about to go, he quickly called out Esther. Wait, take this. Max held out a gift box. It was her favorite room spray scent. Esther took the gift looking puzzled and asked, "What's this?" Max shyly scratched his neck. "Thanks for helping me today. Just think of it as a thank you gift. I noticed you seemed interested earlier, so I was afraid you might refuse," he explained. "It's the smallest size, so don't worry about it." Esther was surprised and exclaimed, "I didn't know you were this thoughtful." Max looked puzzled, huh? She laughed and said, "It's nothing, and I accept gifts easily, so I won't stand on ceremony." Esther took the gift and happily said goodbye to him. Get home safe. A while later, Max was waiting at the bus stop. Suddenly, his phone made a sound. He glanced at it, opened it, and saw a message from Esther. The sender's name made Max wonder who it was. Had he saved someone with such a strange name? "Lovely, June, thanks for the gift." Then he suddenly remembered. That's right, she had added it herself back then. Max tapped to read the message. "Lovely, June, thanks for the gift. I don't think I thanked you properly. Today was really fun. I'll be sure to use it well." Reading her message, Max smiled softly. Seriously, the more he looked at it, the funnier it was. He carefully replied, "You get home safe too." Looking at his phone screen, Max sighed in relief. Then he grew pensive again. His eyes were fixed on the screen, looking at Joy's KakaoTalk profile, wondering if she would like the gift. Suddenly, Esther's earlier words echoed in his head, not expressing anything and just hoping the other person will get the hint. That's selfish. Suddenly, his heart began to beat faster, and he felt a sense of unease. It was completely different from having a crush. Was it because he was afraid of losing her? Max closed his eyes, lost in thought. I've kept my distance from people my whole life. I never realized closing that distance would be so difficult. Looking at Joy's profile picture, he just hoped she wouldn't feel burdened by it. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound from behind. He unconsciously turned his head toward the sound and was surprised. Joy appeared from behind the bus stop and said casually, "That's my profile picture. That's my profile picture."